Shalom to the elect of YAHAWAH started with the 144,000 elect men, 12,000 from each tribe, which consists of the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native American Indians, and you Israelite foreigners, Hebrew Israelites, who are scattered among all nations, looking like the other nations, and speaking their tongues. Shalom to all of you. Before we get started with this lesson, let's give the much due all phrases, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QaDash Holy, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QaDash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone. Much due respect to you, sincere Akim, who are laboring in the works. Shalom to you believers, to the Akim wa Aqua, which will be you brothers, and few among the sincere sisters who do subscribe to this truth, listening and learning in silence, as the scriptures say so. I'm your brother Manazar Gabar, representing warriors for YAHAWASHI, Pasadena, Texas branch. Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying and plain upon the tables. It's going to be a response to this video. You Americans will divide and fall, from the YouTube channel, the brother's YouTube channel that goes by The Hopeful Elect 3. It's 4 minutes 39 seconds long, and then I'm gonna get the scriptures.
Yes, you read that caption correctly. We're about to run out of all resources. Food, gone. Dependency on them. They're wiping out all of our farmlands and taking control of the ones they don't destroy. Prices are through the roof. You can't even barely afford to go to the store today. But imagine real soon what it's going to cost to purchase anything inside of any store, any grocery store. You see, they knocked down bridges, railroads. Other countries are fighting, and because they're fighting in a certain area, what that does is it stops the ships from coming around that's bringing in goods to us. People, it's all by design. This has been implemented for many years, and now they feel like it's time to push it forward. And what are we doing about it? We're doing nothing but sitting on social media talking about it while it's happening right in front of our faces. I've been saying this for a long time, and you can look at my prior posts and you'll see that I've been issuing for a unity amongst the people. We cannot keep going off of division. We cannot. We're not going to make it. It doesn't matter who thinks they're better than the other one, who's this or that. It doesn't. They don't see none of us better than one another. I can guarantee you that. In their eyes, all we are is in their way. That's it. But if we unite, we come together, make a plan, strategize how we're going to move forward. I'm not saying we can stop and make a miracle happen tomorrow. I know that's not possible. What I am saying, get together to prepare ourselves. Not what may happen, what we all know is about to happen. Strategize in your communities. Get together. Something, a big change starts coming about, then at least you know you got the numbers. Because I'm going to tell you something, don't just think you prepping by yourself is going to make a difference. It's not. Because for one thing, you can prep as much as you want. The way they doing it, if they find out you're a prepper, they're coming in your homes, and people can say, and I know many people say, they come in my homes, I'm going to shoot them. Listen, they know who owns guns. They know who's in your house, everything. They got that pegged out before they come. So they're not just going to stand there and say, okay, he shot me, we're going to leave. They'll take out your family. And you all know this. Don't think that these people give a damn about us. And when I'm talking about preparing, we got to come together, because we're going to need each other. No matter what you say. If we don't come together and realize that we do have like-minded people throughout our community, and we are trying to build something together. You know what happens when all hell breaks loose in this country? You can't even trust your own neighbor anymore because y'all never connected. You can't even trust half your family because y'all never connected. But if you come together now and start making a plan, find out what you can do to contribute to making things safe for you and your family in the coming months or years. So I'm pleading with everyone out there that's listening to my voice. Come together. It's time. Do it in your community. Call a gathering. Bring the families to the park. Whatever it takes. Just so y'all can start mingling amongst one another and collaborating thoughts. We're going to need one another. Don't matter who's on what side, and people can get on here and comment about who don't like who and all of that. Don't matter. They don't give a damn about our color, our race, nothing. We are nothing to them. We're poor people, and we're in their way. So people, get it together. Start using your heads. Honestly. Let's come together and let's fight for humanity. Let's fight for our kids. Y'all think about that. Comment. I mean, just let me know what you actually think. Or if you have a suggestion on how we can come together to end what's about to happen to this generation.
Okay, so let's get these scriptures. Let's cut a few. So in the beginning of the video, you probably saw Isaiah chapter 19 verse 2 up there. The book of Isaiah chapter 19 verse 2 in the KJV. And I, right, Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, YAHAWAH YAHAWASHI, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. So when you go to the breakdown here, Egyptians against the Egyptians, meaning American against American. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So, according to scriptures, prophecies, America and Americans are not going to unite. Americans are not going to come together. A division is happening, and that division is going to increase to the point where it's going to be manifested in a violent way, if that makes sense. In war, civil war, for an example, race wars. Okay, let's get this in a G&T right quick. In a Good News Translation, it actually says civil war. G&T, Good News Translation. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. So in the Good News Translation for Isaiah chapter 19 verse 2, the Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt, right, America, and turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. And you heard that man in that video mention how that, pretty much, you're going to have, people that wasn't really cool with their neighbors, that wasn't really cool with their own family members, are pretty much going to go at it. Okay? Just, paraphrasing what that man has said. The Lord Yahawah BAHASHAM says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt and turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. Viral cities will fight each other, right? Cities against city, city against city. And viral kings will struggle for power, right? So yeah, just nothing but division, right? This so-called United States of America really is divided states of Babylon the Great. Okay, the division is going to increase here in America. Let's see here right quick. Mark chapter 3, 24 to 26. So this is the book of Mark chapter 3, verses 24 through 26 in the KJV. It is in red lettering, meaning Lord YAHAWASHI speaking here. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So a kingdom that's divided by civil war is doomed. The New Living Translation actually says that. We're going to get that too, Lord willing. Verse 25, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. That's why scripture goes into how a man's foe is going to be of his own household. Just paraphrasing. Okay, these families, let's just say a house of you got a father, a mother, and children. These families are all going against the head of the house, which is the father, the man. Not everyone is on one accord. That's going to cause bickering, fussing, differences, and it can lead to division. That's how America is. You got these Americans that's not on one accord and also against the government, against their leaders, their kings and princes. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand. He cannot stand but have an end. So let's get this in a New Living Translation right quick. NLT. Mark chapter 3, verses 24 to 26. New Living Translation. And it reads, a kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. So America, for an example, is a kingdom that will soon be greatly divided when civil war really pops off, when it's manifested in real time. Okay, this place is leading to an actual collapse. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. Similarly, a family splintered by feuding, right? A family that's shattered by fussing, bickering, right? Arguing, will fall apart. And if Satan is divided and fights against himself, how can he stand? He will never survive. So yeah, America is on its way to a actual collapse. A civil war is going to take place in America. All right. Let's see. Let's get Matthew right quick. Matthew chapter 10, verses 35 and 36. I got Mark. I meant Matthew. Matthew chapter 10, 35. Okay, so the book of Matthew chapter 10. Let's see. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give verse 34, Salakia. Verse 30. Okay, so the book of Matthew chapter 10, verses 34 through 36. KJV, red lettering, Lord YAHAWASHI speaking here, right? He prophesied. Verse 34, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword, right? The Lord is bringing war to planet Earth, especially here, Babylon the Great, aka America. Sword, right? And especially, missiles, nukes, ICBMs, instruments of deaths, war, chaos, okay? But a sword, not peace, okay? The day of the Lord is of darkness and not light, just paraphrasing. It's a very terrifying, scary day. 35, verse 35. For I am come to set a man at reverence against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So just division, okay? Just straight division. Remember the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 25 in the NLT, right? Similarly, a family that's splintered by feuding will fall apart, all right? Because the Lord said what? It said right at verse 35, for I am come to set a man at reverence against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Now verse 36, and a man's foes, right, his worst enemies, shall be they of his own household. All right. So for an example, Israelites, right, who loves their family a lot more than the Lord. You're putting your family and everything before the Lord. Don't be surprised the Lord, YAHAWAHSHI, use your own family, those who you cherish and love, a lot more than the Lord against you, man. That's why it says here in verse 37, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So that doesn't mean that, we can't love, appreciate the family that the Lord gave us. It's just, if you not serving the Lord at all, right, you're pretty much an enemy, and you putting your family in danger, man. Those who you claim to love, you putting them in danger, because as an Israelite man, since we're supposed to be the head of the house, right, we got to set an example. We got to get our house in order. Starting with yourself first and foremost, right? Ourself, us, right? Our mind, and then eventually, those who's meant to follow will follow, I guess you can say. So the Lord is going to use those who you cherish so much more than the Lord against you, man. All right, great division. Hopefully that makes sense. RAWCHAA. When you get this in the Living Bible, TLB. Let's get that right quick. Matthew 10. Was it? I think I started at 34. And then we read down to 37. Let's see. Okay, so this is the Living Bible. Don't imagine that I came to bring peace to the earth. No, rather a sword. So no war, right? Chaos, destruction. Literally, missiles, ICBMs too. Verse 35. I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Verse 36. A man's worst enemies will be right there in his own home. So you Israelites who don't want to serve the Lord YAHAWAHSHI, and you live with family, you're under the same roof with family, take a good look at the person who you eat with at the table every night, who you're under the same roof with. That person right there most likely is going to end up being your worst enemy. Someone who says they love you, someone who you say you love, it's probably going to be that same person who's going to become your very worst enemies. A man's worst enemies will be right in his own home. Verse 37. If you love your father and mother more than you love me, you are not worthy of being mine. Or if you love your son or daughter more than me, you are not worthy of being mine. All right, so the Lord is going to use what you love, who you love, very much more than the Lord against you, man. All right, the Lord, our head comes first. All right. So got one more that comes to mind. There's sedition among men. All right, there's not going to be unity here. It's only going to be division in America, especially America. Second Esdras chapter 15, verses 14 down to 19. Then, Lord willing, we just ended with this. Hopefully be edifying and playing upon the tables. Second Esdras chapter 15, verse 14, KJV, Apocrypha. Woe, right, destruction to the world and them that dwell therein. So the people that's of this world, right, are doomed pretty much. Okay, if you're still behaving in the customs, the traditions of this world, right, and I'm talking to you Israelites first and foremost, you're still behaving, you're still taking on the philosophies of the heathens, especially the Edomites, so-called white people, right? You're taking on the characteristic traits, the behavior, right, of these Edomites, these heathens, right? You're pretty much doomed, okay? Because if you're an Israelite that's friends with this world, right, you don't want to forsaken it, right? You want to cleave on to this world. You want to continue cleaving on to the shadow of Egypt, right, and the strength of Pharaoh. Just paraphrasing, right? It's going to be a demise. It's going to be used against you, man. You're going to be ashamed. You're doomed. Verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Right? So the war that's going to unalive, delete a lot of people draweth very near. It's close by. For an example, World War III, right? The third woe that cometh quickly, mentioned in Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. Behold, the second woe is past, and the third woe cometh quickly. Just paraphrasing. It's going to delete a lot of people. Civil War, for an example, right? For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. The modern day swords, think of guns. All right. So this doesn't sound like unity. This is division going on. Okay. Division. Because the Lord did say what? He will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. He's going to stir up civil war. All right. Verse 36. For there shall be sedition among men. Right. So for there shall be sedition among men. Sedition, rioting among men. There's going to be insurrection among men. Insurrection meaning a violent uprising, disobedience, resistance. Okay. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, breaking into people's homes, right? To either get their leg back, give revenge, or to just rob, take whatever they desire to take, all right? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They, right, the people, right, the Americans, right, the people, they shall not regard, right, regard, consider, or think of someone or something in a specified way. So the people are not, right, let me finish reading this, Salakia. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So the people are going to, at some point, take matters into their own hands, doing what they believe is right, is good for America, for the people, right? They're going to ignore the legitimate government, those supposed to be in power. The people are not going to consider or think of, who a 5-star general, is the leader for this branch and that branch and this branch. The people are not going to consider or think of the president is the president, the vice president is the vice president, the mayor is the mayor, the governor is the governor, and so on. And princes, right? People are not going to consider or think of, police officers as being law enforcement officers. People just not going to care who's in power. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right? People are going to rise up against their leaders. Civil war. Egyptians against the Egyptians. Verse 17. Now check this out. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? So free access to just travel the way how, all of us, how a lot of us are still able to do to this day. You can just get up and just go to your desired destination. You can get in your car, go to your supermarket, go here, go there. You can travel from point A to point B whenever you want, right? Pretty much, right? But real soon that's going to be taken away, all right? For an example, free access to travel being taken away, a draconian lockdown, pandemic, LD, right? Quarantine camps sites set up because there's a pestilence outbreak. While there's civil war going on, right? There's nothing but chaos going on out in the streets, right? People are going to be afraid to even travel, all right? And it says here in verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Why? Because what? Verse 16, and towards the ending of it, in the course of their actions shall stand their power. So people are going to start taking matters into their own hands. It's going to be nothing but just confusion, division, and it's going to be chaos out here, man. The cities are going to be looking like a war zone. Okay? Buildings, cars, gas stations, bodegas, trees, light poles. Things are going to be on fire. Dead bodies all over the place. It's going to be looking bad out here, man. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. How much more do we, the vessel, the woman? Okay. Now, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? No pity, right? No pity. Let's see, no compassion, no commiseration, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, no condolence, no regret, no sadness, no sympathy, right? No emotion, just ruthless out here, man. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Think of a gun, right? And spoil their goods. Take whatever they consider as a resource and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, because of the famine, scarcity of food, hunger, and for great tribulation, for great sorrow. People are going to be taking matters into their own hands, just breaking into people's homes, trying to find food to eat. These people, these YouTubers that likes to brag about how they are preparing for such times. They got all these resources, right? In their bunkers, and they showing it, not realizing that you making yourself a target. Your same neighbor that's, hey, John, how you doing, John? I'm having a great fucking day, John. Oh, man, it's going to be the same John. It's going to be the same Billy, the same Joe. All right? The same Carlos, the same Nelson. All right? That's going to be like, wait, I remember such and such. Used to mention that how he's been prepping, he's been doomsday prepping. Oh, yo, yeah. I know where old boy live at. Yeah. Hey, yo, let's go over there and ransack his home and take his goods. He got what we need. Okay. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, taking food, taking water. If these invaders finds, something they can use for like substance abuse, like some strong yan, some strong drinks, some alcohol, if they're able to find some weed, some coke, some drugs, you best believe they're gonna take it. All right. And if they see a fine looking woman, they're gonna take her. Because women are usually considered as spoils in a time of war. Okay? All right? Scriptures, Isaiah, let's get that right quick, Salakia. The wise ravished. All right? Isaiah 13 and 16. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces, right? Being battered, meaning being hit with repeated blows, being injured, being beat up. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Witnessing your own children, being tortured, being put to death right before your face. Their houses shall be spoiled, houses being invaded, being robbed, being ransacked, and their wives ravished. Ravish, shagal, meaning raped. So yeah. So women will also be considered as spoiled in times of war. And usually women are, it may sound too harsh for a lot of people. It's just the truth. A lot of women are going to get raped out here, man, whether she's married or not. The only woman that's not going to experience being raped, right, that's going to be covered, protected, is she's an Israelite woman that's of the elect lady, pretty much, who the Lord's going to have mercy upon on and have her become one of the wives of the elect men. Okay. But yeah, there's no unity coming to America. It's only going to be division. And that division is going to increase and increase and increase to the point where when all hell really break loose, there's no food out here, people are suffering, or you don't see people's true colors, man. All right, it's about to get real dark and gloomy out here, very, very ugly out here, man. A dog-eat-dog world, especially here in America, Babylon the Great. So I the one RAWCHAA, the lesson was edifying, playing upon the tables. Repent, YAHAWAH, to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. All right, so I'm close out by giving a much ado all phrases, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone. Much due respect to you sincere Akim who are laboring in the works. Shalom to you believers, to the Akim wa Akwat, which will be you brothers, and few of my sincere sisters who do subscribe to this truth, listening and learning in silence, as the scriptures say so. Shalom.